Yeah. So we can have a look at HBase versus normal traditional database systems. I mean, this is not a good comparison, or I would say an apples to apples comparison. But just to get a perspective, I'll just go through the table. So if you look at the data layout, HBase is column family oriented. So it stores the data in the physical disk based on the columns. So if you have, so all the data belong to a single column would be stored consecutively in the disk. But on the other hand, if you're using a traditional database, relational database management system, the data in a row would be stored and then the next row, so in likewise. So that's one difference. And the other thing is the schema is flexible. You don't have to define your you don't have to define your columns beforehand. You can add any arbitrary column and then with HBase. So there's a small catch. I mean, I'll come to it later. And then HBase is really good for sparse data, which RDMS are not. And then, so one good thing about RDBMS is SQL is very, I mean, almost everybody is familiar with SQL, and then RDMS supports that. But with HBase, you don't have that kind of capability. I mean, HBase can perform joins, but then you have to do it manually using a MapReduce computation. So things like that. So you don't get these nice things we take for granted from the RDMS in the HBase side. But on the other hand, you can do computations using Hive on top of the data stored in HBase. So Hive supports, Hive is a SQL-like language. So you can get some mileage of doing computation similar to SQL using the Hive language on top of HBase. So when we look at maximum data sizes that can be stored between these systems, RDMSs would peak probably in the range of terabytes, while HBase can scale even up to 1 petabyte. And then read-write throughput, as I mentioned earlier, HBase can go up to millions of queries per second. Yeah. So in terms of ease of use, I would say still people would be it would be much easier for people to use RDMS because it's the model that's been taught to us from our undergrad or even earlier days, and we are very familiar with it. And this is a kind of like a very different model. So it would take some time and some usage to get a hang of it. So now let's have a look at the HBase data model. So in simple terms, it's a very big sorted map, a very big sorted sparse map, I would say. So, so HBase has this notion of rows as well. And then, so which would be like here. So this would be one row, and this would be another row. And each row have a row key, which needs to be unique. So in this case, it's this AA at indian.edu. And in this case, it's the BBB at indian.edu. And then in terms of columns, you can have any number of arbitrary columns. I mean, the thing is like you can have 10 columns in this row, but then in this column, you can only have just say one column. I mean, it doesn't, and then these two column types might be different. So that's a feature of HBase. And yeah, so another thing is HBase is multidimensional. So we can think of it as a map of maps, like if you think of this map data type. So this is like a map of maps. So the outer map would be the rows, where the row key is the key for that map, and the value is the these columns. And then inside the columns, you have another map where you have the column key, and then the column qualifier, and then the value. And the next feature of HBase is everything that you put into HBase is versioned based on the timestamp. So for example, if you go through this row, so in here we have 2 entries for the office. So the first entry, the entry from the time T1 is LH201. So that's where AAA used to be at time T1. And then he moved to a different office, which is this IE339 at the T2 time step. So HBase supports keeping these version data in the data store. And then when you query the data, if you query without a timestamp qualifier, you will get the latest value. But if you query with the timestamp qualifier, then you will get any value that's before that timestamp. So for example, if there are two data, two versions which are in T10 and T1, and then you query with T5, then you will get the data value associated with T1. So another concept that we have with HBase is this thing called column families. So in this case, we have two column families. One is the basic info, and the other one is the class grades. So these things need to be defined when you create the table. And you can add column families at later times, but it's highly recommended that you define your column families at the beginning. Yep.
Sorry, when you give the query based on timestamp, do you have to know the time, or are you saying that specify yesterday and all the values that modify it for yesterday? Oh, that's part of it.
Yeah. So the question is when we do timestamp based queries, whether we need to know the exact time. Is that the? That's okay. Yeah. So no, not really. So for example, if I have a data product that I put in day before yesterday, and then I put another version today. So if I put a query with a timestamp yesterday, then I'll get the value I put in for day before yesterday. So whatever the latest value before that timestamp. That's the yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Yep.
Do you have any limit how many versions you can keep track of?
As far as I know, there's no limit. But
will you keep track the whole set of data or just a partial part of the data that changed?
So the question is whether how many versions can HBase keep track of, and whether the HBase would store all the data or just the changes. So as far as I know, HBase, I mean, you can have any number of versions, and then as far as I know, HBase stores all the version, I mean, all the data in the physical storage. But I mean, there can be some compression going on after that can affect, but as far as I know, in terms of physical storage layout, it just stores all the versions. Any other questions? Okay. So the other feature is this. So we had the column families. So we have, in this case, we have two column families which needs to be declared beforehand. So so this would be like declaring a schema beforehand. But then inside the column family, you can have any number of columns or column qualifiers. So in this case, we have name and office under the basic info column family, but then you can add anything like telephone number or email address or anything. And then AAA might have a office and a telephone number, but BBB might not have these two data products. So this is a feature of sparse database where you can have empty values. But in this case, I mean, you can have any number of columns in any row and then have any number of columns in the other row, and it wouldn't take any toll in terms of the physical storage or the performance of the system. So if you have a null value or empty value for a certain key, I mean, the effect is zero in terms of storage or the performance. Yep. So any other questions?